Today we will discuss about the distribution of karma and its effects. We assume as if all of we have come to the Gurukul. Before coming to Gurukul and before studying, we were bound, and it is liberated now in life after studying, after having a rigorous study and correct understanding of Advaita Vedanta. What happens to its past, present, and future actions? In the Brahma Sutras 4.1.13, it has been mentioned in this way. Tad adhigama uttara purvadhayoho ashlesha vinasha tad vyapadeshat. That is, when Brahman becomes realized, there will be non-attachment and distraction of the subsequent and previous sins respectively, because it has been declared so, declared by the scripture, declared by the Shastra. All the previous sins have no meaning for the element soul. That is the beauty of Sanatana Dharma. Only in Sanatana Dharma, Dasyu Ratnakar becomes the great sage Valmiki. In any other religious faith, if you commit a slightest bit of sin, if you eat a single pinch of piece of meat which is unauthenticated in their scripture, if you eat that, finish. Eternally you will be imprisoned in the hell. All in other religious faith also. Here in Hinduism or in Vedanta or in Sanatana Dharma accepts that yes, in life there are many shortcomings. There are downfall, physically, mentally, morally, economically, socially, spiritually. But once we realize it, that we have committed mistakes, it is a sin, it is harmful for society, harmful for myself, I will never do it. I will correct myself. From that moment, the enlightenment starts. And the most worst sinner has chance to become the highest sages. Here Brahmanatva, higher class, the Brahmin, not Brahman, is not accumulated by birth. If it was, then Vishwamitra never used to be Brahmarshi. because he was a king, Kshatriya, the ruler. He used to do a lot of things, and crime also was there because part of the administration. But after doing a lot of penances, that same King Vishwamitra became the sage, the highest category. It was possible. It is possible. So, all the previous sins have no meaning for the illumined soul. And his subsequent actions, if all they be sinful, will not affect him in any way. It is said in the Chandogya Upanishad 4.14.3, Yatha Pushkara Palash Apaha Naslishyanta evam vidi papam karmana slishyata iti brabitume bhagavan iti. Just as water does not stick or stay or affect a lotus leaf, even so sin does not stick to a person possessed of this supreme knowledge that I am that Brahman. Now the question is, does the Jnani, means the person of knowledge, perform sinful action again? Those whose spiritual consciousness has become awakened never make a false step. They do not have to reason in order to, shun evil. They are so full of love of God that whatever action they undertake is a good action. In Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 17 sloka it is there. Yasya nahankrito bhavaha buddhiryasya na lipyate hatva pisaiman lokan nahanti na nibadhyate. Even in second chapter, 19th sloka, we get the same echo of this sloka. What is there? Yayenam vetti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanitaha nayam hanti na hanyate. Even in 20th sloka, you will find the same. Na jayate mriyate va kadashit nayam bhutva bhavitavana bhuyah ajo nitya sashvatoyam puranaha nahanyate hanyamane sharire. So what is the actual meaning or the just gist of those sloka? That an illumined person does not kill, though he may kill the whole world. Don't take it otherwise, okay? Don't take the literal meaning of these verses. This is because the idea that I am the doer has absolutely left him. The Jnani's actions are all for the good of the world. That is the power, that is the effect of Jnana. He is compared to the golden sword which cannot cut. Yet, if perchance something is done by him, keeping this option open, which could be considered bad, what happens to the karma phala of such an action? And what happens to his good deeds? Tattva Bodha says, Kincha ye jnaninam stuvante Kincha ye jnaninam stuvante bhajante archayante stuvante bhajante archayante cha tan pratignyani kritam agami punyam gacchati च तान प्रति ज्ञानी कृतम आगामि पुण्यम गच्छाति. Then next, ये ज्ञानिनां निन्दन्ते द्विषन्ते दुःखप्रदानं कुर्वन्ते तान् प्रति ज्ञानि कृतं सर्वम् आगामि क्रियमाणं यद्वाच्यं कर्म पापात्मकं तद् गच्छति. Again I am telling. ये ज्ञानिनं निन्दन्ते द्विषन्ते दुःखप्रदानं कुर्वन्ते तान् प्रति ज्ञानि कृतं सर्वम् आगामि क्रियमाणं यद्वाच्यं कर्म papatmakam tad gacchati. Wonderful. Kimcha, again, ye stuvanti jnaninam, those who praise the people of knowledge, bhajanti, bhaja sevayam. Bhajanti means serve them. Archayanti cha, and worship them. Tan prati, towards them. Jnani kritam, done by the person of knowledge. Agami punyam, future good fruits of action or future merits. Gacchati, go. Then ye nindanti jnaninam, those who insult the person of knowledge. Dvishanti, hate them. Dukkha pradanam kurvanti, bring sorrow to them. Tan prati, towards them. Jnani kritam, done by the person of knowledge. Sarvam, all. Agami, future. Kriyamanam. Kriyamanam means actions, going on actions. Yad vachyam, which are not to be mentioned. Karma, actions. Papatmakam, sinful. Tad gacchati, they go. So what is the whole translation? Again, the stored and to be done good fruits of actions go towards those who praise, adore, and worship the person of knowledge. And the stored and could be done evil actions which are sinful and are not to be mentioned go to those who insult, bring sorrow to, and hate the person of knowledge. ये मैंने अपने आंखों में देखा है. आचार्य सेवा, गुरु सेवा, ब्रह्मज्ञानी को सेवा करने से क्या होता है? सच में जीरा हीरा बन जाता है. ये मैंने देखा है. और जो कोई महात्मा को, कोई आध्यात्मिक व्यक्तित्व को, कोई सत व्यक्तित्व को, कोई साधु व्यक्तित्व को इच्छा पूर्वक, बलपूर्वक रुलाए, कष्ट दे, हार्श वाक्य व्यवहार करे, कर्कश वाक्य, अम्मा, that also I have seen. I was in a big organization, monastic organization. There, Arogya Bhavan is there, where all old monks are there. I have seen their sufferings, not only physical sufferings, because it comes through prarabdha. I have seen their mental sufferings. I have seen they are regretting. Some sadhus told me personally that, oh my son, some used to tell, oh my brother. When I was a Swami, I literally tortured some brahmachari mentally, not physical torture. Now I am getting the return of that. Even the great saint of that order, not this Chinmaya mission, Swami Madhavanandaji Maharaj, was considered to be one of the greatest monks. When he was suffering, he told that as an administrator, unknowingly or knowingly, I have given punishment and, kashta to a lot of persons. And I am suffering. I have read it and I have witnessed, I have heard all those old monks' words. And what happens if you do Acharya Seva, Guru Seva? Please don't take it otherwise. I am the example. Believe me, I have no quality. I know myself personally. Only that Seva, this made this worthless person sitting over here and you all are listening to me. That is the power of Stuvanti. Now the question is, can karma phala, the fruits of action, be transferred from one person to another. This was believed to be impossible, but it has been seen that it is possible. The biographer of Sri Ramakrishna was Swami Saradanandaji Maharaj. He himself was a person of realization. He writes in Sri Ramakrishna, the great master. In Bengali, it is Leela Prasanga. And it is also translated as Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play. It is depicted in that way that when the master came and lived at Shyampupur in Kolkata for treatment, he had one day a vision that his subtle body came out of his gross one and was walking up and down. Regarding this vision, the master said, I saw that it had sores, gha, all over its back. I was wondering why they were there. And the mother showed that it was because people came and touched my body after committing all kinds of sins, because out of compassion for their sufferings, I had to take upon myself the results of the evil deeds. That is why this, showing this throat, is there. Why otherwise should there be so much suffering, though this body never did any wrong? Swami Saradanandaji comments that the scriptures say that not only ordinary people, but even those who have become liberated in life cannot but experience the result of actions of both kinds, good and bad. As long as their bodies last, ordinary men experience the results of their good and bad actions themselves. Now, who experiences the results of the good and bad actions done through the body of the liberated? For the liberated one cannot be the experiencer that we have discussed earlier. Why? As because his ego has been burnt up by knowledge. And without an ego, there is no liability to enjoyments and sufferings spring from action. Who then can possibly be the experiencer? The results of actions are inevitable. Whatever you do, the result is inevitable, अपरिहार्य. कर्म करने से फल आएगा ही आएगा, लेकिन फल की भुगतान कहां पर होता है? Who suffers? This body never suffers. Our ego suffers. Who enjoys? Our ego is enjoying. If ego is burned by the dawn of the light, then who will suffer? But the person of realization or jnani, he does a lot of work. Even the liberated ones cannot but do some actions, good and bad, till their bodies fall like a dry leaf. The scriptures say that those unliberated persons who serve and love the liberated ones enjoy the results of the good actions of the latter, and those who hate them suffer the results of the bad actions done by the jnani, the person of realization, through their bodies. Who can say how great is the result of the loving and devoted service rendered to the incarnations of God, seeing that great results are attained through the service of even ordinary liberated person. So, take the meritorious, actually, friends take the meritorious results and enemies the demeritorious results. Every action has two sides. If its good effects by far override the bad, we call it a good action. When the bad effects dominate, it is a bad action. The wise man's actions always spring from good intentions, but they can have had effects also. Since the wise man is not the enjoyer or sufferer of the good or bad results, whom do they go to? It is said that the good results go to those who love him, and the bad to those who hate him. The wise man himself does not will that the result go to any particular person. The actions done by the jnani are the will of the Lord or the demand of the totality. The results are therefore distributed according to his will or the will of the totality. The mind of one who loves and worships the wise man is purified and therefore attracts the results of good actions. The mind of one who criticizes and hates is negative and therefore attracts the results of bad actions. One who has value for knowledge and ideals, whose mind is pure and subtle, recognizes the greatness of the wise man. They revere and serve him not for getting merits, but for the supreme knowledge, or out of gratitude for having received it, or out of gratitude for the transformation in their lives. Some look at the wise man from the standpoint of their ignorance and superimpose their own prejudices on him. Some go to him with expectations, and if they are not fulfilled, criticize him. Some with evil minds hate anyone who is good or even try to harm him. In the society, you will find such personalities who are never happy with the people, always find faults. Even in the good thing, they find fault. If you ask him that, hey, please tell me how is that person? He will give the list of the worstness of that person. I think you have met such person. I meet those person every day. I will not name, I never name. The wise man, however, is equal and unbiased to the one who loves him and the one who hates him. If we are not able to see greatness in the wise man and are not able to worship him, we must at least stay away from him and not criticize him or create dislike and hate for him, as this can bring about our own downfall. The examples of Ravana, Kamsa, and such demonic natured ones who criticized the Lord are well known in Hindu scriptures. Now, the result of the self-knowledge is summarized by quotes from the Shruti and Smriti in the concluding words of the text. So logically we are concluding today, but tomorrow also there will be class. It may not be for an hour, maybe less than that, maybe more than that. I expect questions from the student who regularly listen to this Tattva Bodha talks. If they have any doubts regarding this talk, regarding this subject matter, regarding Vedanta, and if they can relate with Vedanta and the real life, tomorrow I will give a small talk for a few minutes and then we will do question and answer. Today we are finishing up. Tatha chatmavit samsaram tetva, tatha chatmavit samsaram tetva, brahmanandam iha eva prapnoti, brahmanandam iha eva prapnati, tarati shokam atmavit iti srutehe, tanum tyajatu vakashyam swapachasya grihe athava jnana samprapti samaye, tanum tyajatu vakashyam swapachasya grihe athava ज्ञान संप्राप्ति समये संप्राप्ति समये मुक्तः असौ मुक्तः असौ विगताशयः विगताशयः इति स्मृते च इति स्मृते च. The aim of the Jnani is to know the nature of his own self. This is knowledge, this is liberation. The true nature of the self is that it is the Supreme Brahman. I and the Supreme Brahman are one. That is the knowledge. But this knowledge is hidden on account of Maya. Now we will do word for word translation. Tathacha, moreover, Atmavid, one who knows the self, one own self. Samsaram, this miserable world. Then Tirtva, having crossed Brahmanandam, bliss of Brahman, Ihaiva, in this world itself, Prapnoti, attains, Tarati Shokam, Atmavid, Tarati means crosses, Shokam, misery, Atmavid, the self-knower, Iti Srutehe, as the Vedas say, Tyajatu va, let the body be discarded. Tanum, the body. Kashyam, in the holy place of Varanasi or Kashi. Swapachasya, grihe. Tatha means, or at the house of a lowborn or dog eater. He is called Swapacha, Chandala. Jnana samprapti samaye, at the time of the attainment of knowledge, mukto asau, he becomes liberated. Then what is telling? Vigatashaya, having killed all desires. It is Smritesya, says the Smriti Grantha. So what is the translation? Moreover, one who knows the self attains the bliss of Brahman, having crossed this miserable worldliness in this life itself. The Vedas say, one who knows his own self transcends sorrow. Again, the Smriti Grantha, Smritis also say that after the attainment of knowledge, whether the body falls off in Kashi, Varanasi, or in the house of a lowborn, it is all the same for the one who has destroyed all desires. ज्ञानी काशी में ही मरेगा ऐसा कोई बात नहीं. ज्ञानी नाले में मर सकता है. There is no difference. Our main problem is to be free. it is evident then that until we realize ourselves as the absolute, we cannot attain to deliverance. Once who knows the self is liberated in life. After the body falls off, he is liberated finally, which is called Videha Mukti. Which is called Videha Mukti. Who is fit for liberation? Is it true that only a Brahmana or person of, belonging to a high caste are liberated? No. Everybody will surely be liberated. Everybody, irrespective of any caste and creed and race and religion, everybody has the right to be liberated. Think about Savari, Mata Savari was the daughter of a hunter. She, Ruidas, and others belonged to the Sudra caste. They were liberated through bhakti alone. Liberation is the only worthy goal. Liberation is the only worthy goal. What is then worth having? Mukti, freedom, that is. Even in the highest of heavens, says our scripture, you are a slave. What matters if you are a king for 20,000 years? So long as you have a body, so long as you are a slave to happiness, so long as time works on you, space works on you, you are a slave. The idea, therefore, is to be free of external and internal nature. Nature must fall at your feet and you must trample on it and be free and glorious by going beyond. No more is there life. Therefore, no more is there death. No more enjoyment. Therefore, no more misery. It is bliss unspeakable, indestructible, beyond everything. What we call happiness and good here are but particles of that eternal bliss. And this eternal bliss, that Paramananda, is our goal. That Paramananda is our goal.